Attention carriers, brokers, and dispatchers. You're tuned into the E-Carrier Check channel, where we bring you the insider tips, tricks, and insights to drive your sales and logistics business to new heights. Each week, your hosts, Jared and Nate, sit down with the top professionals in the industry, diving deep into everything from prospecting and cold calling to maintaining carrier relationships and maximizing your bottom line. Learn real-world strategies, hear success stories, and get actionable advice you can implement in your business today. So buckle up and get ready for an entertaining and informative ride. This is the E-Carrier Check channel, your source for can't-miss logistics intelligence. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Carrier Check Show. Excited to be here. It has been a week. Happy Friday to you all. I am so excited. We're bringing the four hitter today. There are weeks where we have some incredible guests on. There's not another Frank Thomas in my lineup that I wouldn't want to have on today. I can't get enough of this guy. Yeah. We have Adam from DIY on. Nate, brother, how was your week? We've talked to so many people, so many positive conversations this week, man. It's been friggin' awesome.
Right. I'm excited for today's talk too, because this week we talked with a lot of carriers, and obviously we were chatting with DIY, about what are some strategic business decisions that carriers should be doing now to help be successful in 2025. And holy cow, DIY, you guys just bring the house. Your freaking community is awesome, man. Thank you guys for joining from DIY Semis, his channel. You guys are all amazing, great community, but no, great week. Talked with so many carriers. So everything we're going to dive in today and pick DIY's his brain today, because he's in the trenches every day.
Oh yeah,
and he sees all the changes and everything that's going on as a carrier. So I'm excited to kind of see what he's got for us in store today. So we're going to pick his brain and see where it goes.
I love it. One of my favorite things, I got to say too, real quick, and then I'm turning this thing over to Adam, and he can talk for 600 minutes.
And I'm listening.
We're here all day, folks. But like my favorite thing that ever came out of Adam's mouth was when he was talking about COVID, and he goes, there was never a better time to be talking to shippers than at that day. And I'm sitting there going, here's a guy that just you could go make a fortune off load boards. You could go do whatever and ride the stream. You could just get in your damn boat and just let the friggin' thing go. But he was like, no, hell no. Yeah. We're going to hook our ladder up and start talking to shippers. And I didn't hear one friggin' person say this during that time. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm making money. We're starting a trucking company. Everyone's dancing. Adam's like, hell no, we're friggin' getting a ladder out and we're going to climb the shipper tree right now. Yeah. And this is the shit I love about Adam, is that he thinks and sees things differently than anyone else. Adam, welcome to the show, brother.
Oh no, don't stop. Just keep going.
How the hell are you, man?
This is good. You're the only one to ever say nice things about me.
So, oh my gosh, you're incredible, man. How's the world? Tell us about life.
Well, I already told you some, but yeah, it's interesting. This whole journey of building a company has been interesting. Just when you think you've figured it out, you learn a lot more, about just running a business in general, even aside from trucking, and being an entrepreneur and being passionate. And there's some things, other than trucking, to start off with here is, if you're an entrepreneur and you're passionate about trucking, building a company and all this, if you're truly passionate, you'll run yourself into the ground trying to do this. You'll kill yourself trying to do it, right? Mm-hmm. But don't neglect your health. Take care of yourself, because you'll spend 10 years trying to build a company and destroy your health, and the rest of your life trying to get your health back. Yeah. So don't make that sacrifice. Figure out some lines and don't cross them. And secondly, there's going to be people that come into your life unbeknownst to you that are going to change your life later on. Keep an open mind. You know, never forget about gratitude. Be good to other people, and one day somebody's going to come along that's at the right time at the right place for you, and you just got to wait it out, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, this trucking thing is interesting. We got a new year, new obviously political climate, um, very very hot button on both sides, right? A lot of emotion, yeah, on both sides, and we're just trying to wait and figure out and see what's going to happen here, right?
Yeah.
What kind of conversations have you guys been having?
You know, well, Gary's sleeping. We need to get Gary the hell up. But
Need some caffeine.
you know, like I said before we hopped on the show, I'm seeing a lot more carriers that are ready to adapt. We're having those conversations. They're ready to adapt, start calling shippers, and on top of that, building more relationship with brokers in their area. So I'm seeing a lot more carriers willing to do that and get off the load board. That's from kind of what I've been seeing this week, especially.
You stole my thunder, so I'm gonna take a little bit of credit for that. A guy named Paul and I have been talking this for years. My number one thing for 2025 is off the load board. It's not trying to get more money, trying to, do whatever. It's, primarily it's the relationship thing, but get off the load board. This trucking thing is changing so fast around us.
Yeah.
You can't keep up. But I'm gonna tell you what, if you're building a company that's going to operate solely on the spot market, you better reconsider that, because it's going to be difficult going forward. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be impossible. You're going to fight some big battles, because the technology is going to own that space. It already does to a large extent, but it's just going to keep getting to be more and more in the fraud, and you're exposing yourself to all kinds of the worst things in trucking, with the fraud. And if you hate brokers, you're going to be dealing with them. The technology is gonna beat you out every time. You're going to have to sit there and wonder if the market's going to turn. The number one question I see people saying now is, you think the market's about to turn? You think it's about to pick up? People hate me for my answer. My answer is, I don't care. Because I'm building my market, and everybody else should do the same. You can't sit there and, by sitting there and say, is the market going to turn, or it's about to turn around, is about to pick up, is the load board start to get busier, the broker's going to start to pay more? Every one of those things, you're putting your business in somebody else's hands. You're asking somebody else to fix your problems. You're at the mercy of, is it going to pick up? You don't have to do that. You don't have to live that way. So my number one thing is booking freight off the load board for 2025. To a large extent, we do. I don't really know what the percentage is that of freight, other than load board, maybe 35, 40%, which is pretty substantial to me, being, a very small company. But when I bring new people on, it takes them a while to get it. I had just a guy tell me this week, right? Started putting him on some freight. He wanted to dispatch himself right off the load boards and such. And this week we finally got him on some regular freight that we do. And he's like, man, this is so much better. It's like, I don't have to sit here and stress about my next load, and everything's so unpredictable. And I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. It's not easy work. It pays better, but it's just like something clicks all of a sudden and you get it. Load board's not the place to be. So that's like the number one thing for 2025. It's going to be hard to exist solely off of load boards. Sadly. Yeah. And I'm glad people are starting to see that. But then you ask yourself, well, it's hard. You can't book directly with customers. You can't do. Well, maybe it's definitely hard. It didn't say it was going to be easy. It said you got to do it. Not that it's going to be easy. So then it remains, how do you do it, right? And it doesn't all have to be with direct customers. Like we have a couple 3PLs that we work with directly, and I don't care. They're a customer. Like it's not anything like a broker relationship, right? So there's that, and really to do it, this thing can be popular. You have to find the truck driver inside of you and kill it. Okay? Like, I see people doing it, and they call up, and I hear them talking on or how they're going to talk to somebody, and like if I ever hear you talking to a shipper, and I hear you say 10-4, like just I'll club you upside the head, right? You have to take that part of you and say, I'm not a truck driver anymore. I'm a business person. I'm a salesperson. The truck driving part is now secondary, right? The salesperson of you, inside of you is now primary, and the business person, and that's how you have to operate. And you'll start to realize, although the driving part and moving the freight is of utmost important, it's probably the most important. That all these other things are just as important pieces of the puzzle. You may not like it, you may not want to do it, but if you put aside your pride and ego, you will realize how important these other things are and start to value them and the people that do it in this industry. Like everybody hates brokers, everybody hates sales. Hey, these people are important, right? And their jobs are hard. Sales is crazy hard. You guys know that, right? And it takes a lot of work. So find your weaknesses, transition into that. And if you know it's not for everybody. Not everybody can, should, or wants to. The way things are going, if you can't or don't want to, you might want to hook onto a carrier with some freight rather than trying to exist in the spot market. It's sad reality. Are you seeing any of that, or people kind of talking that?
Yeah, I think, that's interesting you say that. The carriers that we do talk to run their own show. They're big enough where they know that things are changing around them, but they don't necessarily know what to do. And what I think is probably more interesting is we've sat down with some very tenured, I mean, 20-year vets that said, hey, things aren't working the same way. How do I change? And
yes.
And it's so interesting that people are starting to identify. I one of my favorite biographies I've read is Henry Ford. If you haven't read it, it is truly like you're like, whoa, because he went from, people were like, why would I need a car? I have 5 horses. And to a certain extent, are we changing from trucks to something friggin' floating on the friggin' interstates? No, but we're changing in the way people communicate. And we're in this new age of communication, and it is so damn noisy and so loud out there that it is wildly hard to be able to communicate effectively. And everybody has a podcast. Everybody has a show. Every shipping manager just friggin' forwards their damn phones to their voicemail. It is wild right now. And I keep seeing the same ad over and over on my friggin' TikTok and my Facebook page. I should show it to you next time I get it. It's DAT. And it's like the only way to run a trucking company. And it's a DAT ad. And I'm like,
Right.
no. Like, you have got to take a moment to go, this used to work. There's nothing wrong with how it used to work. Now it's like, no, we've got to take a moment to go, how do I simplify my processes and find the right people that want to help me grow my business, and I'm going to help them grow their business. And that's that. We've got to be more authentic, more genuine right now than anything. And it doesn't matter if you're a broker or a carrier or a dispatcher. Boy, you've got to be bringing a lot of value to today's market, or you're just going to get washed to the sides of the shore.
Yeah, and if you're a small carrier or one truck or myself or whatever, first thing to do is learn the language of the rest of the world of logistics and what all is involved in logistics. There's way more to it than picking up a load and delivering it. Like where how many warehouses has this load passed through, right? Is it import, export? Is it the contract freight? Is it a spot freight? Is it a budgetary freight where so much of it has to move at this dollar amount, and then some of that will be where it's got to move expedited, so that's going to cost different? Is there, what's the warehousing costs of these things? There's so much that a shipper is concerned about, other than there's time, right? We got to have 50 loads out of here by the end of the month, right? There's so much to the world of logistics, and that's people need to watch your show with that to find out a lot about the rest of the world of logistics. It's so much bigger than just the truck. So
Yeah, sure.
that's how you bring value to the shipper.
Yeah.
Understanding it helps you understand what their needs and problems are.
Right. Adam, one of my questions I wanted to ask you today, because, I saw that you purchased a new Mac, and you had a YouTube video on it. I was checking it out. Badass Mac, by the way. But
Thanks.
Eduardo had a really good question. I'm considering purchasing a day cab semi-truck from Schneider, 2019 Freightliner, with 300K miles. Any feedback on that?
Yeah, there's a whole lot with that. In addition to just equipment in general, the first thing is, what are you going to do with it? Do you have work for it, or are you going to buy the truck and then hope you can find the work? Have the work first. The second thing is 2025. Let's all make a vow. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Real quick. You might say that again, because that's probably, you said it so nonchalantly, but in my mind, a semi has to be an ROI. There has to be some kind of return on investment, whether you're buying a trailer or buying a truck. How's it going to be paid? Right. I'm sure that Schneider has probably one of the best maintenance programs in the United States. I have no doubt in my mind. They have been around forever, and they're good company, right? But how are you going to pay for the truck?
Well, we just came from an environment where people would go out and spend 150 on a truck and 80 on a trailer and say, I can just put it to work in the spot market and everything will be just fine.
Yeah.
Well, then the spot market tanks and you still have to make these payments on the equipment.
Yep.
But people still do it to this day. So let's find the work first.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe he already has it. But for 2025, let's all make a vow that we're going to stop letting other people run our businesses and make our business decisions. And we're going to educate ourselves and see what the real deal is. I learned this in farming years ago. We had a dairy farm, and it struck me funny as I seemed to be the only one that understood it, and I was young. Every farmer has an accountant, and the accountant says, you need to carry $3,000 of debt per cow to keep from paying taxes, right? And I'm like, well, she says to keep from paying taxes, not to be profitable or run a good business, right? So every farmer would do this because they don't want to pay any taxes, right? And years later, to carry that over into trucking, I hear, well, I got to buy new equipment for the write-off. And my accountant says I got to buy. Well, to hell with your accountant. They don't run your business. You know what their job is? To keep you from paying taxes, not to be profitable. Are you in business for tax write-offs, or are you in business to be profitable and make money? I'm in business to make money and run a business. I pay some taxes here and there along the way. Now, don't get me wrong. I am 100% on board for extensive tax planning.
Yeah.
But to buy a piece of equipment I don't need just to not pay some taxes, hey, I got plenty of other ways I can, stash some money for not paying taxes, retirement accounts, stuff I do need, pre-buying some things. We can't let other people keep making our decisions for us. We gotta all have to be well-rounded and understand, most people couldn't even tell you what a write-off is or how it works accurately. Right. So if you don't understand it, don't do it. But there's plenty of reasons to buy a truck. You got to have a level of service, equipment that can sustain your level of service. Like you said it earlier, in a previous show, you can't be rolling around looking like a clapped out gypsy. Customers got to feel good about the equipment they're putting the trailer on, or the freight on, and reliability, and everything has a useful life. Right? Like, I'm getting rid of a truck. It's still a great truck. You know what? It doesn't fit my business anymore. We've grown custom, somewhat to be compliant with emissions. We have some that want a truck to look a certain way. And you know what? They're paying. If they weren't paying for the privilege, I wouldn't be concerned. But they're paying us, enough money to say, okay, I can comply with that. So everything has its useful life. That truck just doesn't fit in my business anymore, so I'm going to sell it. It's going to be a great truck for somebody else. There's plenty of reasons, but just make sure it's a good one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
I do think, Adam, and not to get even a little bit deeper into this, but my father always talked about buying rentals, and it's always been interesting with him is he's like, hey, the bank always wants just 10% down. Realistically though, you're not going to get it to cash flow unless you can either buy it right or put enough money down where it cash flows.
Right.
Is there at a point with a truck, that you recommend, because rates right now, if you buy something, you're at 6.5%, 7%, I'm assuming.
Oh, minimum. Most trucks are risky loans. You're probably 15%.
Are you? Okay. So at what point, how much are you putting down in order to make a truck work properly?
That's a big topic, and that's a
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I'll just explain it the best I can. Like, you can't strap yourself with a payment that you can't make, or that's going to leave it so that you can't eat. Right. And everybody, I got to have a new truck for the warranty. Well, you can get warranty on used trucks. I buy used trucks and buy warranty on them. There's used trucks for sale with manufacturer warranty left. Right. So it never ceases to amaze me how many people buy a truck and strap themselves with a payment that they just can't. They just can't make. Cheap freight hauler is trying to trigger me. So now it distracted me.
I'm not sure how Gary's still sleeping. What the fuck?
You have to. I'm in growth mode right now, right?
Yeah.
So I don't need all brand new equipment. I need to buy the most equipment I can in the best condition for the best dollar amount, right? Do I want a fleet full of Max? Not necessarily, but number one, they're low mileage, the price is right, I got warranty, and I can buy about 5 of those for one brand new Kenworth T680. All right, so that's how you build a company. Now, if I go buy 5 brand new T680s, I'm gonna be strapped for money so bad that I'm not gonna be able to eat some days.
Yeah.
Right. And so, repairs or payment, you pay one way or the other. Hey, new stuff breaks too.
Yeah.
And new stuff goes down because they sit there and fight out the warranty claims. Everything breaks. You fix it and you get back to work. Right. So there's a lot of different strategies. That's the one I prefer. It's served me very, very well over the years. And you can get pretty nice equipment at a pretty fair price. So now someday that will change. We'll buy newer equipment, but you got to get in where you fit in. Nobody starts. Trucking is so weird. It's one of the only businesses where you can get into it and start right at the top with a brand new truck and a brand new trailer. Somebody somewhere will give you one. That doesn't make it a good idea, right? Most other business, if you're a yard care guy, what do you get? You're probably buying a 1987 Econoline van with a little trailer behind you, all rusted out, until you mow enough lawns to move up to maybe in a Isuzu truck flatbed, so you can dump your grass clippings in the back, right? Then your Power Stroke diesel. You work your way up. Trucking is so weird that way, where somebody will give you $250,000 of equipment right out of driving school.
Yeah.
Which is wild, by the way. I definitely think that from a carrier's perspective, buying equipment, you're in growth mode. Talk about that a little bit further with 2025. Do you see that 2025 is going to be that potential to be able to grow? Are you predicting your own growth? Are you following the economy? What seems to be running in your mind when you're saying, "Hey, I'm in growth mode"?
2024 was, I think most people would say, mediocre at best.
Yeah.
It didn't play a part in any of my plans. We grew in 2024. In the last 2 months here, I've added several trucks. So right now I'm just kind of on pause a little bit. It's not because I think the market sucks. It's not because I think the economy sucks. It's not anything to do with freight. It's because cash flow gets tight, right?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, I've about almost doubled my receivables in the last 3 months. And, I have to pay out on that and wait. I don't factor, we wait for that money. So money's going to be tight for a few months.
Yeah.
So we just need to just level off here for a little bit. And then, we can do some more growth, but I'm not really, it has nothing to do with that. I think freight is going to turn around, if I think it's going to get worse, because we've done that work of, I don't want to say that doesn't affect me or affect us. It certainly does. It affects everybody, but I'm confident in what we've done here. We've done the right things at the right cost, and we have the right people in place. And you know what? One person's bad trucking market is another person's good one. People are going to make it in trucking. You know what the best part about, I talked earlier about finding that inner truck driver and killing you and all of that. Sometimes you have to realize when you're the problem, right?
Yeah.
If the spot market sucks, brokers are assholes, trucking is terrible. It's that like in any business, you got to stop and, man, am I the problem? Am I the one with the unrealistic expectations? Am I the one with the lack of knowledge or ability? And you know what? I love it when I find out I'm the problem. I do that all the time. It's like so self-hating, but
Yeah.
but you know what? I do it all the time, and I love it when I find out I'm the problem, because you know why? Because I can fix me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't fix TQL. I can't fix CH Robinson. I don't even care. Like, I don't know. Oh, CH Robinson posted a $4 billion profit. I don't care. Who cares? What are you gonna do about it?
Mm.
If I didn't successfully book a load with the last person I was talking to, that was me. I failed on that. I gotta hone my skills, or I gotta rein in my expectations, or I have to do this, or I have to do that, and I can do that. I'm good at fixing me. Couple good kicks upside the head, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Right.
That's such an interesting aspect, because I do think that once you figure out that you control your future, or at least you control how things are going to be going with your company, how do you fix you? What is it that you have to go, man, maybe I need to communicate differently, or maybe I need to take a course, or maybe I do need to friggin' talk to somebody. What is it that works with you, Adam, that says, man, here's how I'm going to fix me, and here's what I'm going to do the next couple of weeks or month to start to see things from a different perspective?
I talk about this with my friend Steve all the time. Snorlord Metalhead Viking guy. He's in here, I think.
Yeah.
It's most people fail because of foolish pride and ego. Now, it's tough to beat that out of yourself. And you're always everybody has ego, whether we like it. Everybody has a little bit of ego. Some people have a lot, right? Some people have a lot of pride. Little pride you don't have to defeat it, but you got to recognize it. Say, okay, am I doing this because of my pride, or do I think I have to run every mile for $4 a mile because of my pride, or do I really need it? Then we got to sit down and figure, okay, what's my cost per mile, right? And when you can get in touch with those things, they say, well, my accountant told me I need to buy a new truck for the tax write-offs. I got to go figure out how that works, what that math is. I got to learn a little bit about taxes and accounting, right? The more I learn about it, I used to like accounting. The more I learn about it, like, I hate it. It's like I'm resisting incorporating because I don't want to do double entry accounting and get on the accrual method. If anybody understands that, like, that's the stupidest, nerdiest thing to say. Like, because I learned accounting, some of it, right? If I had to sit here and do accrual accounting all day, I would just end it. So I don't want to do that, right? But that's one of those things, like, you have to learn. Okay, it sounds foolish. Everybody in here, if you have one truck, learn the difference between cash accounting and the accrual method, and double entry accounting and all this stuff. You know what? You'll learn a lot. So this is one little stupid thing. So recognizing you don't know something, and then nerd out on it. Like, just dive into it and figure it out. And really, don't ever believe anything anybody says. Don't believe what I say. Always believe what Nate and Jared say. They're 100%. But just find something you don't want to do, and then nerd out on it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Chief Rayhaller had a great question too, and Sean Price, what's up, bro? I see you in the chat. But DIY, do you think that we are at a spot where a shipper may be willing to pay a truck a little more than a broker for reliability? And I do, Sean, I appreciate your comment too on this. I think it's a possibility if the shipper is set up with you directly, but it all comes down to the high level of communication service their brokers are giving them. Any feedback on that for Chief Rayhaller?
There's always somebody that does somewhere. And is it going to be a big enterprise shipper like Kraft? No, probably not. But it might be like your local lumber yard, tired of trucks not showing up. Right. So that's the case always somewhere. And sometimes you find these people by dumb luck, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, or you watch Nate and Jared and use the eCarrier Check platform and
Appreciate
find
that.
some of these people yourselves. If you guys haven't checked out like this eCarrier Check website platform, and you're serious about, let's bring this full circle here. So you have a lot of people talking about, I'm small company and I want to go out and get my own freight. Ain't no better resource than the eCarrier Check platform. And I'm not just saying that, I use it. Like I have it up on my screen right here. I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
You know, I do different things with it, checking out, safety records and stuff. But it's right there for you. So that's one good resource. The interesting thing about now in trucking is we've never had a time where we've had so many resources. And as a trucker, you're talking Google Maps, GPS, all these kinds of things. And then the same with the other side of it, of finding freight and brokering and talking to shippers direct. Like all the resources are just impressive.
Right. Yeah, there's so many to choose from. And, a lot of the conversations I have, everyone's just they're kind of signing up for everything and anything. They don't really know what they're doing or signing up for. So, if you're thinking about getting some kind of tech, whether it's eCarry Check or whatever, I suggest you reach out and do your homework before putting in your credit card. It's just, you're just saving yourself some stress, right? Yeah. If you want to see more of eCarry Check, obviously hit us up. We show you the site without having to, sign up for anything. We want to help hear your business strategy. And so hit us up if you want to see more of that.
I do think just from why people fail when they sign up with eCarrier Check is that they don't do the work.
Yeah, a lot of work.
And
I have a quick story on that. So I don't know if this gentleman Paul from Freight Connect, I have him on my show. He specializes in helping small carriers connect directly with shippers. It's small, so he'll do the sale. He'll do the work for you, right? The sales calls, and bring you a warm lead. And by the time he brings you the lead, all you have to do is pick up the phone and call them. They're ready to book freight with you. They know who you are. They've agreed to this and that. We bring people up to this point. 9.5 out of 10 of them won't make that phone call. So you can do all the legwork. Fear is real.
Oh man,
fear is the biggest thing. I mean, I did it, and it was hard. He's like, "Hey, call these people." I'm like, you know what? If I don't do it right now, I'm never going to do it. So I picked up the phone and I called, and we're still hauling for him today.
Yeah. A lot of that, it's that fear, and then another thing I'm starting to see and hear, it's that people are mentally drained. I understand people are in the truck all day.
Oh yeah.
I shouldn't even say I understand because I'm not in a truck all day, but I hear you. I hear your pain, and it's so draining. And when you get that one day off, you just want to sit and chill. But I'm encouraging you to make that 10 to 15 minute phone call to make that relationship to help your business.
Yeah.
I get everyone's mentally drained, especially right now.
Yeah.
That's something we don't talk about often in trucking is mental health. So take care of yourself, but also make sure you take that time, 15, 20 minutes to work on your business, but most importantly, work on your mental health.
Yeah.
The difference is of the people that do it and don't is when you get to that point of absolute fatigue and tired and you don't want to do it. You don't want to make the phone call. You don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to do whatever. The ones that do it anyway. Yeah. Right. And Nick Klingensmith will tell you that. All these people will tell you that. That's where the line of demarcation is between the ones that do it, the ones that don't.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think it's identifying, from a mental health standpoint, I love a lot of mental health stuff. I read a lot of mental health stuff. It's finding ways to fill your cup is different for everybody. My kids, my family has this interesting effect where they can either fill my cup or they can drain the hell out of my cup. and it depends on the day. You know what I mean? But I understand from my own perspective what I need to do in order to be able to just remove myself from the world and fill it up. And that's either going for a walk, that's going to the Y, that's listening to a book. I tell you what, if you guys haven't listened to a book in the last, just listen to it. Turn it on in your truck or turn it on at the gym or whatever it may be. Right. You can kind of double dip in our world. as a carrier, if you're in the truck, listen to a book and just soak it in for an hour and see what it's like.
Yeah.
I just got done listening to the Jerry Jones biography, and now I understand him. I don't know if I agree with the guy, but at least I understand the guy. And it's probably one of the more interesting things to go from, being an insurance salesman and seeing his dad as a full-on sex addict and an alcoholic, and now owns one of the richest franchises in the world. I understand why he is the way he is, but for those of you that are out there that need some mental health, man, read a book. And it doesn't have to be anything that you like. I love Star Wars just as much as the next. I love a biography and I love the self-help stuff. Right. You just need something that kind of changes your perspective.
Right.
Because we talked about it earlier. How do you change your perspective? It's by going and getting someone else's perspective.
Right.
It's by listening to people that are, maybe a different opinion than you.
Right.
That's okay. We can have different opinions. We don't have to friggin' get in arguments all day. Right. But gosh dang, it's really important that you feed yourself something else.
Yeah. And David, I'm glad that you're doing better now, man. What do you do to fill your cup up, right? I mean, you said you're living your best life currently being in the trucking industry. I'm sure some days are tough. What are you doing to help yourself, man? I'd be interested to know that. Chief Rayhaller, you're just asking some beautiful questions today. How do you get over the fear of growing / responsibility to others? I've been talking to a shipper that's interested, but I need 3 trucks.
I'll tell you. But first, Jared, you said it's all about what you feed yourself, right? But remember, garbage in, garbage out, just like a computer. If you put garbage in your mind all day, that's what's going to come out of it. You got to start putting better stuff in. It might be boring, might not be, but it's what you need. So his question is about a shipper that's committed and interested, but I need 3 trucks. Interesting point you're at there, cheap freight hauler. Congratulations, by the way. A lot of people never get to this point, but change the way you're looking at it, right? You're at a fear of growing, responsibilities to other. I've been talking to a shipper that's interested, but I need 3 trucks. Here's another way to look at it. Gosh damn it. I finally got exactly what I wanted. I finally got somebody's going to give me what I've been asking for. Right? You could decide to look at it from that perspective instead of fearful, right? Trust me, I understand. Sometimes you just got to do it. And we talked earlier about the gentleman with the day cab. Get the work before you get the equipment. You just had a quasi commitment from somebody, right? So the conversation you want to have with them is, hey, we had this conversation. You said 3 trucks. I'm all in. If you can work with me on this, I'm going to start working towards 3 trucks. If I can be sure that you're going to be here when I'm ready, when I get back, and lay out somewhat of a timetable. Say 9 months. Say, hey, if in 9 months or so I can work up to this 3 trucks, can I come back to you and we pick up this conversation? Says I'm not looking for anything in writing. Just give me a little bit of confidence to do this. In a somewhat of a commitment that, hey, when I call back in 9 months, you're going to remember who I am, right? Because this is the step. You're fearful of it, but this is just a step through that process of you said to yourself, I want to grow, I want to add trucks, I want to get a direct shipper. If this indeed is what you wanted, cheap freight hauler, I don't know what that is. Maybe you just wanted to do it with 1 truck, but if this is what you wanted, man, you got exactly what you asked for. Go get it, man.
I like that.
I do too.
And if that particular one doesn't work out, well, guess what? You got 3 trucks to go to somebody else with.
Yeah. I also think too, I love how you said this earlier. If I go buy 5 Max versus, 1 Kenworth, there's ways of getting this done that you don't have to go buy 3 trucks, take on 3 friggin' payments. There's some good equipment out there, and there's drivers that actually probably you can manage fairly quickly and get in the trucks and do through the process. I know it's a big step, man, but I've always been a huge fan. I got to say, Chief Freight Hauler, I've always been in the stands cheering you on. So take that step, man.
You can't let perfect be the enemy of good enough.
Big enough.
Sometimes things have to just be good enough until until you're in the position to make them what you want it to be. Like
Right.
everything here is not what I want it to be yet, but it's going to have to just stay this way until one, I got the financial means, and two, I'm at the point I need a little help in office here, and that's going to probably happen this year. But things will just have to be good until then. They have to be.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Bella, it's so hard to stand out even after a conversation that you feel was great. Then they don't remember you. There's so many of us. Gosh, that's just me talking to a girl at the bar that I'm just like, hey, we talked last night. And they're like, who are you? I'm like, never mind.
You didn't give her a reason to remember you.
I didn't give her a reason to remember. I'm like, come on. I mean, but no, I get it. Like, it's so hard to stand out. Something that Jared likes to do, you like to get crafty with subject lines. When you're reaching out to brokers and carriers. Back in the day, how did you make yourself stand out? Even you, Adam, how do you guys make yourself stand out to make these guys want to just remember you, or, things like that? Either of you take the horn here.
Under promise, over deliver. Not just over deliver, but knock it out of the gosh damn park.
Yeah.
Right. When you get the opportunity.
Have you guys, either one of you, have you got up off the couch ever, walked into a room and not remembered why you went there?
Every day.
Yeah. Shippers have the same issue. Relationships have the same issue. And here's something interesting is that we were built to communicate with others. And from a psychological standpoint, and I have to remind my father to do this, 85 years old, wonderful person, but he goes into the damn kitchen and stares into the refrigerator daily. Just stares, right? And from a psychological standpoint, I've told him, here's what you're going to do, Dad, is before you get up, you're going to say, hey, I need a Coke Zero. I'm going to get some ice. I'm going to dump and pour me a Coke Zero. And I'm going to say it out loud, right? So what I recommend from a psychological standpoint, this is just a quick tip, okay? This is something you can go do today, is when you get off the couch, say, hey, I'm going to run to the laundry room and I'm going to grab some dryer sheets because my shoes stink. And I'm going to put them in there. But you have to say it out loud. It's no different than when you're talking to a shipper, Bella. I always stood out by saying something random to them. Yeah. Hey, I'm probably the only girl that can max out 300 on a friggin' bench press, and I want you to remember me for that. When you communicate those things over to yourself and to them, they'll remember you. Everyone knows. I mean, I'm proudly to say this, even though we have a terrible football team. Every shipper knows that I'm from Nebraska because I always say it, and I'm like, hey, my subject line is going to be from Nebraska. Because then it gives them a trigger to remember that. Find trigger words in your life, and I promise you, it'll change the way you walk into a room and not remember what the hell you said. So trigger words are really important from a psychological standpoint.
You'll get to 300.
I know. Okay, so I did watch you bench the other day. It was very entertaining, and I'm super proud of you. I loved seeing you max out. I can't remember what you maxed out at, but it was I loved every second of it. So
Ryan, I love you.
Fake story, Nate. You're unforgettable. There's a guy. He's got an ear infection. He's still on today. I love that. So I think from a standout point, you got to hit trigger words, and that's an important thing. So just a quick psychological 101 class there.
This is off topic. Hey, it's okay. We're here for any question at all. So sorry, this is very off topic, but what are the steps or course of action after not being paid by a broker/customer?
It's a case, to me, it's a case by case thing. First thing is, who are they? Do I work with them often? Am I going to work with them again? Do I even want to work with them again? I'll give a lot more grace to somebody I work with all the time. once I learn the habits, I work with one person. Hey, he's just late all the time. And I'm okay with it because I know 100% he's going to pay me. I don't even worry about it. And then I work with people that are, Johnny on the spot with everyone. If they're 5 days late, I'll say, hey, they're a week late. I'll be like, hey, I think this invoice might have gotten missed. Right? Sometimes people just honestly miss things. I have. I've had it happen many times. And then, oh, hey, can I get you a EFS check right now, or do you want me to just mail it? I'm like, just mail it. No big deal. If you think somebody is doing it out of financial trouble, you got to handle that different. You got to be Johnny on the spot. Document every time you contact them. We've done shows about this. There's different measures: filing against their bond, taking them to collections. There's just all kinds of things you do. Persistence. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Just squeak. So when a broker first starts to get into trouble, there's one that's going through this right now. The first people they pay are people with factoring companies, because they don't want to ruin their credit with the factoring companies. If you are, myself that doesn't factor, they're probably going to push me off as long as they can. But I'll be on them every day. Mm-hmm. And then I send them after, a few days, I send them an email. Hey, if I haven't received payment for this by Friday, I'm sending it to collections. I never tell them how I'm going to try to collect. If it's their bond, if it's turning over to an attorney, small claims court, because I want to leave that open for myself. But I just start hitting them with collections notices, and then I follow through.
Okay. Yeah, this guy's 3 weeks late and has been on me. Give me the runaround the whole week. Wire needed authority. Days later after says a whole bunch of BS. Sent a whole bunch of BS. Yeah.
It's probably time to start collections.
Yeah.
Go after, check with their bond. Try to track down their bond first and see if it's valid. Call their bond company. Sometimes when somebody's bond company calls them and says, hey, we just got a notice on you, that straightens them right up, because they don't want to be sideways with their bond company either.
Right.
If it's a massive failure like a surge transport, that ain't going to do nothing. But if it's a smaller person, a lot of times that'll straighten them up.
I had to deal with collections and aging accounting for a little while. We had some turnover at that trucking company I was with, and man, I tell you what, I literally didn't care. I would go get in the damn car and be on their front door the next morning. I've shown up in the middle of friggin' nowhere, Minnesota. I drove to Minnesota one time and friggin' was like, hey, I'm here to collect and I'm not leaving, but have a good collections agency ready.
If you need one, contact me. I have a really good one.
Yeah. So if you make sure that you friggin' honestly have a good collections agency ready, call Adam. He'll give you somebody. But if you're a trucking company, you got to get paid for your work, and it's ridiculous that you haven't. And I know things do get into weird ruts with mail and all kinds of weird stuff. The post office is brutal these days. But make sure that you stay on your everything's cash flow. It doesn't matter. Everything is damn cash flow, and you've got to stay on top of it. Yeah. So,
is it a good time to open a dispatching business? Captain Crunch, I love your name. You gotta be weirdly unique. You know what I mean? You gotta have a business plan. You have to have some value, but I mean, it's gonna be tough to build it. Hit me up, man. Let's chat about what your plans are and see what we can do to help you. Chief Freight Hauler had a good question. Does e-carrier check help find shipper of a specific hazmat commodity in a specific city?
Yes. Yes.
Do they? Yeah. Come on.
I would love 30 minutes with you, man. I feel like I could help you in so many different ways.
Plus, I just want to see your face.
I do too. I do too. Let's do it.
I've seen it, fellas.
Is he just a handsome little devil or what?
Well.
Oh, shoot. What are the odds of a broker finding out I develop a direct relationship with a shipper? Carrier agreement, I'll have the no back solicitation clause.
What are the odds of a broker finding out I developed a direct relationship with a shipper? Carrier agreements? This is an interesting subject that you could probably go in for days. I tell you what, I mean, if you got a good broker, I definitely would keep that and maintain that relationship. If you're not getting what you were hoping for, go introduce yourself. But I definitely think, I would respect agreements when you got good relationships. But if it's a transactional relationship and it's not really going the way you need, go introduce yourself. But I definitely would be respectful of those agreements, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Do what you said you were going to do. You said you weren't going to. No.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. You guys, we're freaking 45 minutes, 50 minutes into the show. Adam, I just can't thank you enough for being on the show. And you have an amazing community. Thank you all, 44 of you, for tuning into the show awesome. And just asking great questions. I know Adam's got to get back to work. This guy's in the trenches, like I said, every day. So he's got to get back to work. Jared, send us off, man.
Yeah, a couple things, Adam. Number one is we are grateful and thankful for our relationship together. You are really just a breath of fresh air, and we love and appreciate you coming on the show and just giving us your insights. So thank you for that. I hope you have a friggin' blessed weekend, a blessed life for that matter. I can't get enough of you. I'd like to have a steak and a beer with you sometime. I think that's wildly important that we make that happen at some
for
point.
sure.
So
Yes.
outside of that, thank you for everyone being on. Take care of yourself. Say thanks to somebody that you haven't said thanks to lately, and give them a call. You never know when people will come into your life and you need them to pick up the phone. And so say hi to some people you haven't lately. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So we appreciate everyone watching. Thanks for being on.